Watching F5, we are at GITEX 2023 in Dubai. Amazing conference so far. I did get a little bit of a walk around. I do have my walking shoes on, and so far my feet aren't sore. However, this is a big conference and I would love to check out more if I get a chance. Anyways, right now I have Bart Salaets with me. Bart is our field CTO for EMEA, which is Europe, Middle East, and Africa, I believe. So got a lot of space for you to cover. And I think I got your intro right, is that correct?
That's totally correct, Boo.
All right, okay, cool. 1 for 1 so far. Now, we were going to talk about some things that are kind of specific to what Bart is seeing in the EMEA region. So some of the concerns here that we've been able to at least kind of architect around for customers going into multi-cloud networking and application networking, really. What kind of stuff are you seeing out there, Bart?
Yeah, specifically when you speak about multi-cloud networking, I think we've all seen that most customers have multi-cloud strategies now, right? They deploy applications in different public clouds. They keep some of them on-prem, some of them are even moving to edge compute environments. That obviously creates a lot of complications in how to manage these applications, how to get visibility on the portfolio, how to arrange security for the applications. But it also creates a new problem, and that is how to inter-network these applications, right? Because cloud networking technologies in AWS, Azure, private cloud, on-prem, they're all different. So trying to interconnect these things is becoming fairly complex. So the need for this thing which the industry now calls multi-cloud networking has become very important and something that we're seeing across the board now.
Yeah. How have you seen, I guess, now that you've seen that, you have seen public cloud being adopted, but also on-prem still being in play as well. Would you say like it's kind of different region by region within the whole Meta region?
Yeah, I would say in this region, and this is also true for the European Union, data sovereignty is a very important principle, right? People have there are certain risks associated with that, and people want to keep certain types of data on-prem in a private environment, and that's probably gonna stay for that for some foreseeable future. So there's use cases, for instance, a very typical use case that we see pop up very often is when you have, let's say, very sensitive data that needs to stay on-prem, so the database stays in a private data center with an application in front of it. But you may want to have a web front end deployed in a public cloud to bring it closer to customers, to bring it a more agile environment, because the web front end is a very dynamic part of an application, whereas the back end, the database, is a much more static one. So then you end up in a situation where the web front end is in a public cloud, typically, and that backend stays on-prem in a data center. So that's when you need that multi-cloud networking to make it easy to start interconnecting these web front ends in these public clouds in an easy and secure way to that backend database. And I always ask customers, when they look at multi-cloud networking as a technology, I think very often people are looking at it in isolation, in the sense of it's a way to harmonize networking across multiple clouds, but I think people should ask them the fundamental question, why is it that you want to do this? And it is because you want to interconnect applications. There is no users in clouds, there is no devices in clouds, there is only applications. So the reason you want this technology is to interconnect applications. And that is what we do here at F5, right? We're not just here to interconnect the applications, but we're also here to help secure them, to deliver them. So from our perspective, multi-cloud networking is basically this thing that glues everything together from an operational perspective.
Yeah. Well, maybe some of that challenge, if they are looking at it from a narrow scope, does that come down to potentially the people in the room when we're talking about these solutions? Like maybe we need to take a step back or take a step up and be looking at this from an architecture, director, C-level perspective to really understand, okay, there's a bigger picture here. It's not just the network folks figuring out how the network is now cloud, but it's the architecture folks figuring out how the entire application is everywhere.
That's a very good point, and that is definitely something that we see on a daily basis, right? Indeed, if you bring this story and you explain the business problem that we are trying to solve with this solution, then at very high levels people get it. They see the value of integrating all these things. Of course, if organizations are still built based on We have networking people dealing with the networking. We have security people dealing with security. We have the DevOps and the application dev dealing with the applications. Then you can sense there are some hurdles to overcome to get to that. So that is definitely something that we see on a daily basis. But I think that what we're starting to see is that there is a growing belief that keeping that hard separation between networking and security is not sustainable, right? We come from a world where you have perimeter-based security, and if you have a perimeter, just by the nature of it, it's easy to have a network, bring traffic to the perimeter, enforce your security functions, and then go to the network again to deliver traffic where it needs to be. In this new world of zero trust, there is no perimeter anymore, so the integration of networking technologies with security technologies is something that we see happening in many areas. And I use the example here of multi-cloud networking becoming an integral part of application delivery, application security. But we see the same thing in the SASE world, right? SASE is also the combination of a set of SSE security functions with SD-WAN as a networking component. So it's definitely something that is starting to gain more and more traction.
Yeah, that's interesting too. Kind of wonder if we're going to get to the point in the market where we don't think of it as multi-cloud network anymore, in that SD-WAN, right? Software-defined networks. That was a hot topic, a hot buzzword, software-defined anything, but software-defined networks was a hot topic, say, 8 or 9 years ago, but now we just assume that the network is software-defined. Like it's already, we're using code to configure the network and it's agile and whatnot. Maybe we're going to get to that point where multi-cloud networking is just, this is now your application fabric. It's there, but right now we have to go through a period of kind of educating people on that.
I like the phrase you just used, the application fabric, because that's ultimately what it is, right? We come from a world where we had monolithic applications in one single place, and you put security in front of it, and you put application delivery in front of it. That's how we started as a business as well. Now we move to a world with modern applications where an application is broken down into microservices. These microservices can still be in one single place, but they can be distributed as well across different environments. And now the ability to start inter-network and keep these environments secure is just a new element in how you deliver and protect applications. So from my perspective and from F5's perspective, this is a fundamental part of how you manage an application portfolio across a multi-cloud environment.
All right, cool. There you have it. Bart agreed with me, so I got a rubber stamp on my idea there. I'm going to trademark that term. Well, thank you very much, Bart, for joining me on this. How many GITEXs have you been to so far, actually? I ask everyone that.
This is actually my first GITEX. I've been to the region many, many times, but from a GITEX perspective, this is my first one. It's a wonderful show. Many, many people, lots of interesting conversations, so super happy to be here.
Cool. All right, well, you'll have to go check out the flying taxi down there. Nobody knows what I'm pointing at, but there's a flying taxi way down there, so you'll have to go check that out. Thank you everybody for checking this out. There's going to be a playlist with all of the videos that we're doing this week at GITEX 2023, so be sure to check that out. Hit like on this video, make sure you're subscribed. If you're not, follow along on social media, and otherwise we will see you on the next one. Bye now.